21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
As an agency director running a $3 million sales organization, I have tons of driven young people come to me feeling super burnt out. You know, former athletes, grads, go-getters who want real freedom early in life, but they keep hitting walls. Like they're doing everything right by the book. They might be working hard, trying side hustles, chasing advice, sometimes bad advice on social media, and nothing seems to click. Deep down, they start to wonder if they're the problem, right? Well, I help them break through that. I show them exactly how to become six-figure closers by mastering real influence. And I use a very simple 3-step framework to do that. No burnout, degrees. You don't even have to pay for overpriced courses to understand the psychology. You just need clarity, confidence, and a system that actually works. And honestly, I understand how they feel because I've been there too. When I was new to sales, I was given a 15-page sales script with a bunch of leading questions, way too much information, and very quickly I realized it didn't work because I wasn't selling. And so I made it my mission to create a much simpler process where all you have to do is build authenticity, exclusivity, urgency, and close. That's it. Authenticity is why the client buys from you. Urgency is why they should buy today. And exclusivity is why they should buy this product. As long as you can hit those 3 points, you'll be able to sell. And we all know that sales is the highest paid profession in the world as long as you master it. So my mission is to deliver value to people and to guide them to 6 figures in sales in the first year of getting into the industry, because I honestly wish somebody did that for me. One of the things I realized in sales when I got into the industry, I have this coach that has coached me in business for a long time. And what he told me one time is that great entrepreneurs are part of the aggravated oysters club. And what he meant by aggravated oysters is the aggravated oyster that produces the pearl, right? And it's a natural phenomenon that happens where if there's a piece of sand or a bacteria that they can't get rid of, they just start coating it. And it becomes a pearl over time. It's calcified over time. And so great entrepreneurs, is kind of an analogy for them. They find a problem that they can't really get rid of, so they fix it and they make it better. And that was kind of my experience in sales when I got into sales and I was told to follow this 15-page script, and I was very coachable, so I memorized it like a Shakespearean play, word for word, all these leading questions. And I remember sitting there with this client who was so exhausted from all the information that I threw at them, and nothing worked for me when I was following instructions, and I thought I was doing everything that I was told, but it wasn't working simply because I was over-explaining and there was so much that I was doing that I didn't have to do. I could have closed the deal in 20 minutes if I just followed the simple framework of connecting with the client by building authenticity. So when I talk about authenticity, which is the first pillar in sales in every sales conversation, it's very simple. How much do you know about your client and how much do they know about you? That's it. If you can walk away from that conversation and explain to somebody else who you just talked to, what they care about, who they are, and what their vision for life is, you've connected with them. And if they can say something about you, what matters to you and who you are as a human being, then you've connected with them. That's all you have to do to build authenticity in a sales conversation, is just the connection. And that's when they get to like you and they get to trust you. So you're not just another rep, you're a human being that they're a friend with. The second thing is exclusivity. I realized I don't have to, over-explain what the product is and how it works and what it does. As long as I can make the client feel like they're getting the better end of the deal, they will want to make a buying decision. So any phrases that you use in a sales conversation are designed to lead to that thought process of I'm actually getting the best end of the deal. One of the best ways to do that is by price anchoring, saying a program like this is usually X amount, which is a high price point, but because you're a member in this program, you actually get it for this price point, which is a lot lower. And that's one simple way that you can build exclusivity, but there's 1,000 different ways to do it. You don't have to over-explain and follow a bunch of different scripts to do that. It's a very simple process. And as long as you have a few phrases down that are your go-to core phrases, you can duplicate it every single time in a sales conversation. As long as the client feels like they're getting the best price, the best end of the deal, and it's a good product, they'll make that buying decision. And the third thing, which most reps struggle with, is urgency. Why should the client make the decision right now? And most times it's simply because there's not a lack of clarity throughout the conversation and you don't establish yourself as the authority from the very beginning and condition throughout the conversation for a buying decision at the end. So as long as you use certain phrases to suggest, hey, by the end of this, there's going to be an application process for us to qualify you for this program. The word qualify for this program is one of the best things that you can use to leverage your authority in the conversation because you're helping somebody qualify for something versus selling them something. Those are all keywords that you can use to build on the urgency. So when you break it all down, authenticity is why they're buying from you. So if you can't get through the conversation in a sales process, it just means they don't like you. Like if you're not connecting with them, if you can't mirror someone's behavior, they simply don't like you. So you're missing your authenticity. You're not connecting with them and you're talking at someone, not with someone, right? Exclusivity, if you get the objection of, I want to shop around and compare different prices and rates, then you really didn't build on the exclusivity. You didn't explain to them and condition the client to believe that they're getting the best end of the deal by having this interaction with you. And number 3, if they tell you they got to think about it and they can't make a decision right now, you didn't build on the urgency. You simply didn't condition for the qualification at the end and you weren't clear enough as far as the purpose of the interaction from the beginning. And I always believe this, at the end of any interaction that you have with a person that is designed to be a transactional conversation, if there isn't a transaction at the end, both of you just wasted your time. They wasted their time, you wasted your time because they didn't get any value from it and you didn't get a sale from it. So never feel bad about asking for a sale at the end. It is literally your job as a sales professional. But as long as you're confident, you communicate well and you connect and you follow those 3 simple steps, you will always close at the end of the conversation. When I got into sales, I had 0 experience in sales. I was a concert pianist for 17 years. I competed as an international pianist across, different countries. And I realized very early on that even though I didn't have experience in sales, there's a lot of applicable things that you can learn from being a classical musician and apply that in sales. And one of those is hyper focus. I used to practice for 3 hours a day and run scales every single day just to get on stage for 20 minutes and win a competition. And that's months in the making, right? So I always say that you become a top performer in the practice room, not on stage. And it's the same thing in sales. You become a top performer when you practice your reps, not in the actual sales conversation. So as long as you prep for it, you'll always be able to win. But when I started, there was a lot that I didn't know about the psychology of sales. I was always able to connect confidently with people, but I was not authoritative in my presence, and I had to learn that the hard way. So when I started in sales, I remember that the one thing that got me through the rough first couple of months when I was given a 15-page script and was told to figure it out, and I realized it didn't work. At the time, I did direct sales that was face-to-face, door-to-door. So I had to drive 3.5 hours to my areas to talk to my clients to sell anything to them. So I'd spend 3.5 hours getting there. And then after 10 appointments and no sales, I'd think about it for 3.5 hours back by the time I got home by 1 a.m. And there was one day, I was in my 2nd month in sales. I get to my first appointment. I had 10 appointments lined up, left my house at 5:30 in the morning, got there at 9 a.m., realized I left my laptop at home so I couldn't sell anything because I didn't have the application system, drove all the way back, picked it up and came all the way back, moved all my appointments, 10 and a half hours of driving to get to my first appointment. I ended up closing 5 deals, and I posted in a group chat that we have, and I said, you guys won't believe what happened to me. I had 10 and a half hours of driving today before I got to my first sale and my first appointment, and I wrote it out and I posted my 5 sales. And I remember everybody just went off in the chat and said, kid, you're going to make it. You're going to make it in this business and in life. And it just dawned on me. I thought, even when I didn't have as much of a skill set, I still had the grit and I had the work ethic, and it didn't even cross my mind not to go back to pick up the laptop and to still close and go back to work. And I think oftentimes the reason that people fail in sales is they just fold too quick. They fold at the 350th call when the 351st would have been their $4,000 deal. And if they don't make that one more call, if they don't ask one more time, they will never know what's on the other side. And so generally that adversity is meant to refine you, not define you. And if you can understand that, if you can understand that those adverse times are designed to get you to be better so you can meet the other version of yourself on the other side, then you'll be able to push through. So flash forward, I've been in the industry for 8 years. I started as a sales rep. I built my way up. I built multiple sales teams. Now I run a $3 million agency with over 100 agents, all working remotely, 100% virtually. And one of the biggest things that we have been able to harness is a culture that is thriving in the virtual realm. Because I think nowadays the ability to connect and to still work as a team and still have a high-performing culture gets harder when you're not in person. And so we've been able to really figure out a way to continue to grow together. And aside from just learning how to sell and how to coach others to sell, I've now learned how to grow teams and diversity within this virtual world that we have. So one of the big things that we actually do in my agency is we run what's called observation rooms. And what rooms are for my team is essentially all of our agents get to go in and they could get to watch me close live deals every single day. And my top guys, my top performers get to do that as well. So all of our new agents, our new reps are constantly getting refined in real world, sales calls where they get to actually immerse and learn on the spot. And I think it's one of the most practical things you can do because there's so many courses that will teach you what to say when you're selling, but it may not actually work if you're in that position. It's just theoretical. It's not practical advice. So one of the things we've learned how to leverage is having those live calls constantly streamed for all of our reps to grow and learn together. Most of my calls have over 50 people watching me sell live. And it's a very refreshing feeling to be able to do that for so many young, hungry people looking to grow to the next level. And you just see how it clicks for them, and how much they walk away with real world stuff, not theoretical stuff, not fluff, but real stuff that they can take away and implement on their next call. So my mission really is to continue to grow my agency, to continue to give people real advice, because I think there's too much fluff on social media. There's too many get rich quick, kind of courses that get people involved and get nothing from it, where you just feel like you've wasted your time and your money and your energy and you can't really scale anything that's reasonable and doesn't have a strong foundation. So my mission is to grow my agency through real sales advice with real clients and a real product that's needed in the life insurance industry and health insurance industry. I mean, life insurance and health insurance will never go out of style, right? Like there will always be a client for that type of product. And to be able to be in that kind of industry and offer that kind of product to a market that needs it and wants it is super rewarding while creating 6-figure opportunities for others to follow in those footsteps and to be able to do that same kind of thing for themselves. One of the cool things that we do as well to build on our culture that we have virtually is we have not only, sales goals and competitions and things that we run, and we also have trips that we give out to people when they hit the target and they get flown out to exotic locations. But also we found that people tend to feel a little bit more aligned with the opportunity when we give back. So we have a partnership with Hain Rescue Fund, which is for saving pups in our neighborhoods. And we've saved quite a few dogs through the contests that we've run. As soon as we hit the sales target or the referral target, we give back to Hain Rescue Fund and we save another dog. And we also give back to Make Tomorrow Better, which is a very specific fund that essentially dives into most things in terms of homelessness, even giving back to kids with cancer and providing funds for that. So we gear our contests and our sales targets not just to making more money ourselves and making a greater income for our families, but also giving back to the community, which really helps us as an organization and helps the culture thrive even more because people feel that alignment and they have a mission and a purpose that's beyond themselves. And realistically, in the next 5 to 10 years, my vision is to scale our business to the tens of millions. At this point, we're at 3 million. Next year, the vision is 5 million. And we've grown really fast. Our team is expanding very fast right now, especially because we're virtual, so we can hire in every state. And people get to travel while working. I had a rep in Colombia last 2 weeks, and he sold so much business out of Colombia, while traveling with his family. So there's so much flexibility that we've never had this much growth just because of the amount of freedom that people have to be able to work and travel as long as they have their laptops and Wi-Fi. They can work from anywhere. So our vision is to continue to grow that mission to give people freedom and flexibility in owning not just their lives and their financial outcomes, but also their schedules. So they get to work on their terms, on their time, and make as much as they prefer to make based on the systems and the process that we give them. Give me 5 years, we'll probably be at 20 million. Now, Martin, I love how you always give back to your audience, and I'd like to do the same. Today, I'm going to give away everybody who's listening something that I've never offered before and something I usually reserve for just my highest level recruits. I'm going to give you my 6-figure sales blueprint. It consists of 2 things, and before I tell you about what this is, let me just explain who this is for. If you're a young professional, a former athlete, an ambitious go-getter, and you're tired of working hard for little payoff, you want a real path to financial freedom without waiting 40 years, then this is for you. Right now, you might feel like you've got the drive, but you have no direction. And ultimately, that has you stuck in a job that really doesn't light you up, or might even have you broke and burnt out, to be honest. So what you really need is a proven system that shows you how to earn big, learn fast, and build something meaningful. That is exactly what I'm going to help you with today. The first thing I'm giving you is my 5 steps to guarantee 6 figures in sales game plan. A quick, powerful video where I break down exactly how to go from 0 experience to 6 figures in your first year. Now, it's the same roadmap that all of my top team members use, and it's going to help you finally see how to turn your ambition into income. All right, now the second thing I'm giving you is access to my 6-figure sales vault. This is where I break down exactly what to do to increase the number of sales, increase the number of appointments that you have, increase your show ratio, and maximize your closing ratio. This isn't something you'll find on my website or online. People don't even know it exists unless they're on my team, to be honest. And if you dive in and you implement everything that's in that vault, you'll be closing at a 6-figure level no matter what. So if you want access to the 6-figure sales blueprint, go to my Instagram at Stela Roznovan, STELA1LROZ if you type that in, and send me the keyword 21st century, and I'll send that to you personally. Again, my Instagram is Stela Roznovan, Stela with 1L, ROZ. If you type that in, I'll pop right up, and send me the keyword 21st century, and I'll send it right over to you personally.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community. Elevate your perspective and embark on the path to success.